There's an apparent injustice occurring as we speak, and it has to do with a police officer that many are calling a hero based on his actions during the Pulse nightclub shooting and the aftermath. This is Omar Delgado, who was one of the first officers at the club in the early hours of June 12th, 2016, after a gunman killed 49 people and injured dozens in what then was the deadliest mass shooting in US history. But US history moves fast, so we have exceeded that since. Delgado, who suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of witnessing the carnage, scoured through bodies that littered the ground and helped survivors get to safety. Now, before we tell you the unfortunate turn, take a look at this video showing Omar Delgado talking to, in the hospital, one of the people that he saved that night.
How you doing, Angel?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. My name is Officer Omar Delgado. I'm one of the ones that helped you get out of harm's way, man. I need a big hug from you, man. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're doing good, man. So glad you're doing good. So glad you're alive, man. I'm sure your family is very glad that you're alive.
So look, we point out very often there are a lot of bad cops in this country who have terrible beliefs about the people in the areas that they're policing, who do terrible things, break laws, brutalize people. Omar Delgado was one of the first people who rushed into an unimaginably dangerous situation before there was much backup, at the risk of his own life, did that, and has been affected, mentally scarred by that experience. He's also scarred by this. The department is terminating Delgado from the force at the end of the month. An extra 6 months on the job, he's been there for almost 10 years, would have allowed Delgado to receive 64% of his salary with benefits for life, basically his pension. Since he's gonna leave the force unwillingly before making it to 10 years, he will receive 42% of his earnings. He was not making a ton of money being just a cop, but that is a significant portion of what he would then be living on, and he has medical expenses due to the PTSD. And just 6 months before he would be able to get that pension, they're kicking him out. He's been working on desk duty since the attack, and the department said they need to replace him because of his PTSD. They're not saying that openly, but that's what he's saying they said to him, and because they need an additional officer on patrol, a job he can no longer perform.
Okay.
He asked them to just let him stay the 6 months.
So cops have a union, and in the case of the cops, sometimes that union is a little overzealous in defending them no matter what they did and who they shot and how quickly they shot them. But the union has upsides, and so that's why sometimes Republicans hate unions, because they organize and they get you a good salary. In this case, he has a whopping salary of $38,500.
Yeah.
So it's not
after
like
10 years on the force.
Yeah. So if sometimes I direct the video to right wingers because I feel like they're out there going, "Oh man, yeah, he probably got a big fat salary, and why should the taxpayers pay 64% instead of 42%?" It's $38,500, and he risked his life. I mean, this is exactly the kind of guy that you should love. He risked his life to run in there. And he was talking about it, like he wakes up having nightmares all the time when he's combing through the dead bodies, which he saw and experienced. And Omar Martin, by the way, a Muslim radical terrorist, right? In his nightmares, he starts shooting again, etc. So it's like he was in a war zone, and he kind of was.
Yeah.
And I want to read you what Angel Colon, the guy you saw in the hospital, said. He said about Delgado, "He was my hero. He saved my life, and for them to just do what they're doing to him in front of my face is a slap to my face as well. He did his job that night on June 12th, so they should have his back 100% totally and just be there for whatever he needs." So he goes and saves these people's lives. I mean, that is the best of us, the best of the cops, the best of to protect and to serve, exactly right. So you can't have him do desk duty for another 6 months?
6 months.
No, I gotta cut costs, I gotta be brutal, I gotta get him out of there, even though he's literally among the most heroic cops in the country. How many other cops are there? A lot of them risk their lives, don't get me wrong, but that have risked their lives in a massacre to save people and done it right.
Yeah.
And now, but we got, no, because money rules everything, so we gotta crush this guy, and we gotta crush his soul and his retirement money, because we have to save a little extra, couple of bucks here and there. If you don't stand up for this cop, who do you stand up for? If you like this video, bless your heart. We got a lot more where that came from. We do a full show every day, Monday through Friday. Come enjoy it ad-free by becoming a member, tytnetwork.com/join.